You want to know why there are so many blue check marks and mainstream media figures, and of course now academics like Michele Dauber and some of the angry professors at CUNY? Do you want to know why so many of them are off their rocker right now? It's because they know that their Me Too ideology and their believe women, implicitly believe all women ideology, it has just taken on a major hit. And this Depp trial, you know, this is something that people paid attention to. And there are not many events that become truly cultural touchstones. But people were paying attention to it, and it taught people the lesson in a very demonstrable way. It was the Depp versus Heard trial, and what Amber Heard did and what she was proven to have done. It is such a great object lesson in the notion that, of course, women do lie. Being people, they are capable of it. Of course, women can lie about harassment. Of course, they can lie about sexual assault. But this is such a central tenet of a particular type of ideology that is just very much entrenched in academics, right? In academic departments and universities. It's very much entrenched in modern journalism and in most newsrooms and most journalist organizations. It is this notion that that women do not lie. You know, academia, in particular certain fields, right? It's very, very skewed ideologically. And, you know, it's no coincidence. I saw today, just a couple of hours ago, that there is a sociology professor at CUNY who has now jumped on the bandwagon and is castigating her school for trying to celebrate the achievements of one of the young women and former CUNY graduates on Johnny Depp's legal team. And this was someone who, you know, who was a child of immigrants from the Dominican Republic, who represents the American dream, who represents diversity, who represents all of these things that people in academia and in journalism and all of these fields say that they want to celebrate. And yet suddenly, when the ideology is not correct, we don't want to celebrate her. She was on Depp's team. And they're trying to equate Depp to a Harvey Weinstein. It's really just beyond the pale, but you have to understand, okay? You have to understand that some of these fields, particularly sociology, like I'll just tell you, okay, I came from English, right, in academia, and sociology is considered to be probably the most extreme left-leaning of all the disciplines in the university. And it was even kind of a joke at times, you know, someone would say, oh yeah, well, you know, they're a sociology professor. And that was almost supposed to indicate to us, like, we knew exactly, like, oh, what their politics are. And it's to the left even of the English professors, right? You know, I have an extensive background in academia. I think that what's going on with some of these academics, Michele Dauber, and with what's happening with CUNY and so on, it's actually another really great object lesson in how divorced modern academia has become from the thoughts and perspectives of normal people, and frankly, from reality. There is no way that someone with the supposed intelligence of Michele Dauber, and look, I just do not believe for 1 minute that Michele Dauber or some of these other people, particularly some of these professors, that they do not have the cognitive ability to listen to the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard audio and hear it for what it is. I'm sorry, it is just too obvious. And I'm not even going to restate it because I've said it so many times on this channel and so many of you have said it, that we all know what we're talking about, the audio, right? The only explanation that I can give as to why someone like a Michele Dauber or some of these other blue check marks and some of these other mainstream media figures who are just so wedded to this notion that Amber Heard was a victim and that this was some kind of Darvo operation. I'd never heard of Darvo before, but anyway, suddenly everyone's using the term. They're so wedded to this idea. I just do not see how intellectually that is possible unless there is a decision, perhaps unconscious, that has been made to deny plain truth for the sake of ideology. And you may think, some of you in the audience who are not really familiar with some of these institutions, and I'm talking about academia and I'm talking about modern journalism, if you're not very familiar with these institutions, or if you've not spent time in them like I have, a considerable amount of time in academia, I don't like to brag about it, but I do have a PhD that I got from a top 20 program. And I spent many years in school. And then after that, I was a full-time lecturer at a university, and even still adjunct occasionally from time to time. And so I have spent basically my entire adult life in academia. And I can tell you that what's going on here is that a lot of academics, particularly the politically activist type, they absolutely have no problem disregarding truth, even consciously so, for the sake of ideology. And I think when we look at Michele Dauber and what we have seen so far with her behavior on Twitter, this is certainly not someone who is interested in civil conversation. This is not someone who's interested in the truth. This is someone who is interested in promoting her own chosen ideology. And what happened in that Depp versus her trial is that Michele Dauber's ideology and the ideology of a lot of people like her, it sustained a huge blow. So what happened here is they feel like they all sustained a huge sucker punch, you know, their ideology, which, believe me, it's more than just an ideology, okay? The way that some of these people think in terms of their political ideology and some of this Me Too ideology, it is very dear to them. It is not a mere intellectual exercise to say whether or not this happened or it didn't happen, or whether or not Amber was abused or she wasn't, or whether or not a man can be a victim, or whether or not, you know, what we're hearing on the audio is right. All of these things, the stakes are incredibly high for some of these people in academia and in journalism and in certain sectors of society, and big tech, right? This mood, this temperament, this ideology about Me Too, and this insistence on infantilizing women, on misreading the Depp trial, on saying that women in their 20s can be groomed by older men, that verbal coercion is basically the equivalent of physical assault. These things, these frankly untenable notions that really have to be stopped, that are actually very dangerous, a very dangerous set of ideologies. These were threatened by the Depp Heard trial. So of course, a lot of these figures who are very, very invested in these ideas, they're going to look for reasons to deny the truth, and they're going to do what we see them doing right now, bending over backwards, twisting the narrative. So yeah, I'm going to be working on this little seminar I want to put together. I think you'll get a lot out of it, and it'll be educational sometime in the next few days. But as always, find me on Twitter, Instagram, subscribe to my channel, and you can hit me up on PayPal, Patreon if you want to tip or donate. Thank you. Bye-bye.